Hi, ScrappyKathy again with installment 2 of my late November, December, early January layout share. As I said in the previous video, from November 29th, that was the start of a challenge weekend, an online crop weekend at Secret Not Secret Kit Club, to the 3 or 4 layouts I've done so far in 2019. I had a stack of 54 layouts, and so I've been through a few of them, some of them. I'll try to go faster. I'll start out now with this layout, which is you saw, if you saw the last video, you noticed I did a lot of scrapping with elements that I had cut out and made in a card making kit for 2017 Christmas cards, and it went unused, and I actually had some from 2016 as well, so I put those on my table and made sure that I used as many of them as possible this time. I didn't use them all, but I've kind of divided the remainder into something that's made kits for scrapping and a December daily type book and cards for next year. So the gifts that keep on giving. Okay, this one is this was unusual for me to use a dark green background. I don't use this color green much except in Christmas cards, but I thought it was appropriate. And these little frames were all made, they were all die cut to use in either Christmas cards or in my December daily from last year. And this little green tree, I think, is from, it's a chipboard element from something, from a bunch of chipboard, a box of chipboards. I think they were called Mombi chips, that I got my granddaughter when she was 5, and she's 10 now, so 5 years ago. And I have decided that though they have sentimental value, I don't need to keep them in the box that she had them in. I can put them on layouts and they're preserved. So, and these things were cut for something else. Everything on here is a scrap, including this bit of embellishment, this light string. And it's a very simple layout, featuring my 3 grandchildren in 2 different sessions of tree decorating. I never could get all 3 of them and my son together, so we kind of decorated the tree in stages. And I did my journaling around the outside in a white pen. I have been asked what kind of white pen I use, and it's a Signo Uniball. And it's perfect. My particular type of handwriting does well with a little bit broader tip on my pen, so I like it, and I'm able to, my handwriting, I know some people say they can't write except with a very thin tip, fine point on their pens. I actually prefer it a little bit thicker. So, okay, I'll put that one away. As you can see, the lights move. I'm not sure what'll happen when I put that in a page protector. This one was done for a fussy cutting challenge at For the Love of Pretty Paper, and I took because we have a collection of beach-going, pool swimming, tropical-looking Santa Clauses. I decided I would do hibiscus in various shades of red and pink, fussy cut from a sheet of a paper pad, and I used, again, things that I had cut for cards. These, I have a punch that makes these little fern-like leaves, which can look like holly, and I just kind of tucked them in everywhere because they kind of looked like these palm tree fronds. I'm dreaming of a sunny beach, no white Christmas required. Again, not a particularly sophisticated layout. I set around, I expected this doily when I put it on there to have more prominence and for the flowers to kind of be behind it and in front of it. And they were big enough, and I had enough of them that I was able to, I obscured it quite a bit. And I don't know if you can see, but some of those hibiscus are glittery and some are flat, and I kind of like that change, and I like that it's set on this graphic zigzaggy red paper. Okay, this one actually just yesterday at the Winter Olympics medal ceremony at For the Love of Pretty Paper, celebrating a challenge that ran through December, 15 challenges that came out on Sundays and Thursdays, all related to Winter Olympic events. This one actually won the draw from the random number generator to win the prize in event number 13, which was, I didn't record it on there, but it was it was to use snow as a theme. So I had these snowflakes again cut from, I need to glue these things down. I need to put that in the glue on better pile. These little guys are running around loose. I took this is a cut file that was in one of my Black Friday boxes from Secret Not Secret. I found scraps that were already cut and kind of made them fit around the photo. They looked to me a bit like window panes, so I didn't mind putting my photo of the snow that got to our swimming pool before we had a chance to swim in it. We'd had some pretty warm weather in January and February when the pool was being built, and we thought we'd be able to swim in it in March. And we had this unexpected snowfall the 3rd or 4th of March in 2009 it was. And I took this picture standing with my new very powerful SLR camera, standing safely inside my warm house looking across the backyard to the pool. And so it doesn't bother me at all that all the stickers and all the colors and all the busyness of the snowflakes kind of obscure the fact that that's a photo of frozen trees and a swimming pool, kind of a juxtaposition of images there, because it was snowing and obscuring things anyway. So I used, I think, 3 different Bo Bunny winter collections in the scraps and stickers and stuff here. I think this is a newer something from a Mind the Scrap kit that I hadn't used, maybe from last year. And so anyway, I love the layout because it, to me, portrays what that scene is all about. Okay, I'm going to try to speed it up here. This was also for the Love of Pretty Paper, a challenge that was to use the figure 8. And a lot of people did arranged embellishments in the form of a figure 8. I actually used 8s from 2 different sizes of root beer float thickers to form a heart. And here I made the point out of little dots because I ran out of 8s. And I used pictures that my husband, 8 is a special number for us. Our first date was on May 8th. We got married on August 8th. And every 8th since then, we've celebrated a month anniversary. And so it's our number. Again, I used some Cheeky Studio florals, some fussy cut from that same paper that had those hibiscus that were in the Santa Claus layout, and miscellaneous other papers that kind of went along with the color scheme of the plaid paper in the background. So, and most of these pictures were taken on an 8th or celebrating an 8th. This was actually our wedding day. That was on another special day. These are all, I just kind of went out looking for things, all different places. This is on board a ship. Anyway, that was a quick and easy one to do that I love a lot. This one is one that I did in, this was for the, I think I was still doing challenges for the Secret Not Secret Kid Club. It was a half and half challenge. So it was to divide the page in half and then kind of scrap across the line. So I used the Maggie Holmes Flourish collection and this butterfly that was punched from some junk mail and to highlight this photo that my granddaughter made me take of a butterfly visiting our butterfly bush one August, because August is when that bush is filled. And I used houses all over, some fussy cut, some were actually ephemera, and I called it home. I cut the home from other words. I did not have that word home, but I have a Vicky Boutin set of thickers that had other words, and it had the letters in there, so I used that. Another Maggie Holmes Flourish that I used because I love this wood grain background, and I fussy cut flowers from the line. I used some texture paste. I'm going to say it's Bria Reese, which she produces some really vividly colored. I have a blue that'll actually almost blind you. It's a beautiful ultramarine blue, but I thought this maroon color kind of went well with these flowers, and I don't use that color as much. And I rolled it on with a brayer that has a chevron texture to it. So it kind of, I don't know, looks like tire tracks. It's kind of like the road, going down the road of life. That was kind of what I was going for there. And whereas the flowers, the florals are all kind of formal, we're dressed very informally, and we're at a football game, our son's football game, our grandson's football game, and so I thought this kind of toned down some of the formality and went more with the photo. So it was kind of about driving. We drive all over the countryside to go to Barrett's games. Okay, here's this is one using my box of crayons by Chamel, and I just absolutely loved this paper, and I had used it as is on another page a year or so ago, and this one actually I decided to just tear, and I knew I was taking a chance, and I actually messed it up right here and right here, but easily covered with flowers. This is a page about an amazing artist, a primitive artist whose paintings we buy at an art show every year that we can get to it, down in Jackson, Georgia. And his name is Fred Goodrum, so I named the page Fred and did the journaling around the heart shape on a black background. Again, a very simple layout. Shamel did all the designing for me with those gorgeous colors in that heart design paper. I think I'm going to pull that one out separately and maybe get that posted to Scrapbook Like a Superhero. Okay, this one was one I did for no particular reason. Okay, it was a Stash Bash challenge at Secret Not Secret. And I took a black background, did squares, which you can hardly see, of scraps I had in my scrap box. This is absolutely everything here is scraps. This butterfly is punched from usually junk mail. I do these fine cut die cuts using junk mail because you get a pretty abstract distribution of colors there. I've got Cheeky Studio things. I've got this Get Cheeky, I think is actually, I think I got that on the giveaway table at a retreat. This though is from my Fox box. I subscribe, and so are these little flip-flops and this story. I think there's something else. Bramble Fox Studios makes these wonderful acrylics. Oh, this Love 365. And I've had a couple others that you've seen, the Celebrate, and a couple others that I don't think I mentioned, Bramble Fox, but I actually subscribe to their products and each month I get a Fox box, and I'm haunting the mailman right now because my new box, my January box, is due to be delivered any day. And it's just, they do such a good job of things. Like I said, I'm not sure the Get Cheeky is from them. I don't know whose it was, but those others are. And I've got wood, I've got enamel, I've got a punched State of Texas with a little star, where Houston, where a majority of our life together has unfolded. I've got an IKEA Raskog cart filled with supplies that I saw. It's some ephemera that I ordered from Etsy after Natalie Nelson For the Love of Pretty Paper was so excited about having ordered hers. This is something else I got at the retreat. I'm not sure who made that. This is a little charm with snow-covered mountains, and it's referring to the Memories in the Mountains Scrap Happy retreat that was held in July, where I got to see my Scrap Happy friends again. The only photo on here is this little tiny round photo of my husband and me, and everything on the page references something about our relationship or our 37 years together. Our travels here, the airplane and the mountains and the phone box, the London phone box, the beaches and bicycle riding and my crafting, Texas, the stars are always shining and, deep in the heart of Texas. And I've got butterflies that found himself in a strange land. It's a special page about a special relationship, and I'm lucky enough to have that. This is one that I actually made before I saw the half and half challenge, and I think this challenge was it was a stamping. challenge. You were to use stamps on your layout. So I had these beautiful fall trees that were taken, of all places, by the parking garage at the medical center where we go for doctor's appointments. And I at the collective creativity retreat in Charlotte in November, one of the attendees, Carolyn Sitton, gave gifts to everyone of some packaged chocolates, and they had beautiful fall ribbons. This fiber was around my package, and this little tag, "Hello Fall, be happy," and I just thought that it was that it would be nice to use that. I actually had these architectural stamps from Tim Holtz, and I stamped them on the layout. I stamped the full architecture. Then I stamped them again on white cardstock and colored them with Copics, and then went back and fussy cut them, and I fussy cut them. It's a really, really thick paper, and I popped them up so that there's some dimension. I'm not sure if you can see that when I turn it that way. So again, a fairly simple layout in design. I've had this green paper probably for close to 7 or 8 years, and this craft color paper. Neither of these are colors I particularly use. I tend to do these kinds of colors. So this was a little bit of a departure for me, but I think it turned out great. I love it, and I love the fluffiness of those fibers. Okay, this was Inspired by Memories sketch challenge, where they gave you half a sketch, and then you had to kind of fill it out and then use it. And so everybody's layout, depending on how they finished the sketch, everybody's layout came out different. So on this one, I actually took this is mostly box of crayons that I've used here. I tore the half under there instead of defining it by a doily, which departs from my thing. Used lots of contrasting colors to kind of go with the colors that are in the photo, which is one that my son took of our Thanksgiving table, and he did the Happy Thanksgiving on there digitally, and I kind of liked this. Not quite sure who made that. I managed to put a frame in it, which I think is in the sketch here. This frame, I did a cluster here and a little tiny cluster here to kind of bring it out. But I think when I originally did it, I didn't have this yellow behind it, but it looked a little bit off balance. There was too much weight at the bottom of it, so I added that. If I were to embellish it, do even more, I might add another bit of paper over here so that it's balanced diagonally, and I think I'm going to put that aside and maybe give that a shot. Okay, we're getting down to about maybe halfway. This one was to use vellum, stencil, and twine. So those were the requirements. I'm not quite sure, but this was part of the Secret Not Secret monthly scrap party. And I had this, what brought this to mind, I went and intentionally looked for this photo. What brought this to mind was that we had lots of lemons that needed to be picked on our Meyer lemon tree, and we'd actually brought it in for the winter because we were going to have some cold weather over the weekend. And I was waiting for Ava to come home after being at her mom's. And it reminded me that she always used to pick the lemons and immediately wanted to go make lemonade. So we brought this Meyer lemon tree from Houston. So it's been with us for, we probably had it 5 years in Houston, and then we've been here 10. So it's a 15-year-old tree. And every year it produces more or fewer lemons. This year, not quite so many, but the ones we had were big and juicy. So this is an old picture of her making lemonade, and I decided to use this to go with the tropical theme for the tropical tree, because we no longer had any tropical weather around here. This is a piece of tropical printed vellum, and I use these tropical leaves and hearts. I think this little guy is from Cheeky Studios. This is some Amy Tangerine thickers in the same pink as her shirt. And I don't know if you can see the stencil I used. To me, kind of looks a little bit like lemons. And I did the stencil over the black and white part and then extended it over the yellow so that it would I actually even did it over the vellum. And so you kind of have to look to see it there. But I love that stencil, and I love the texture paste. And of course my twine just wrapped the picture in the same yellow as the background. So that's how I threw that one together. Here's another kind of, this showcases some more Bramble Fox goodies. This is the requirement here from the Secret Not Secret prompt was for a photo that shows joy. And it to me, this one of Ava jumping in and tossing up some leaves is the ultimate expression of joy. I had this scrap of paper, and this is the other side of that paper, so I decided to use both colors. I decided to frame the part that had her face in it with this beautiful Bramble Fox orange frame, and I used the purple leaves here and the title Wonderfall, and a few brown enamels to kind of reflect the brown leaves, but I think there's actually some purple in the leaves, and there's some purple shoelaces, and just the purple, orange, and green are just kind of wonderful fall colors to me. So again, an extremely simple layout. I distressed the edges just to add a little bit of interest because it kind of looks like the messy, distressed look of the leaves. Okay, another one. That's Ava. Here's another Ava page. I've got, I think, 3 or 4 Ava pages in a row. This one was just kind of a goofy one. This one was, the challenge was to lift an icon of ours. And I, as you can see from most of my layouts, I struggle with anything related to minimalism. I like the more the better. The more there is to kind of excite the eye, the better I like it. So Kathy Zelsky is minimalist. She does a lot digitally, but there was a layout of hers in Scrapbook and Cards Today magazine that I lifted for this page, and she scrapbooks almost exclusively in 8.5 by 11. So I made this an 8.5 by 11 page, but I broke the lines here and here when I mounted it on a 12 by 12 white cardstock. So this is a picture of Ava, and then this is a Snapchat photo that she took of herself. So I'm talking about how she's a beautiful, smart 10-year-old who's, you know, moved on, but she likes to get silly with her Snapchat photos. Again, a fairly simple layout, and I love all the white space in that one. This one is an Ava page that uses some more of those hibiscus from that pad that I cut out for another. This, I think, was the challenge was to use wood veneer, and I used the other part of that green paper that I used in the fall layout, and this is a favorite. I like this wood veneer design so much. It has this kind of, that's part of the paper, that like Scotch tape look, and this is the other side of it. So you'll see I use those a lot. I bought a package of 25 sheets of that at Tuesday morning. Go figure. So this is a picture of Ava walking a dog that used to belong to her stepmom, and I used frames and a wood veneer bird there, some little wood veneer flower elements peeking out here and here, some wood veneer hearts, butterflies, and I had an old, I think is it Fancy Pants? Or I think it's Fancy Pants, called Happy Tales, and I used it to document our cats back in the day, and we don't have any cats or dogs in the house anymore. The joys of living with someone who has asthma, and so I cut this out. Didn't use the rest of the paper that has dog paws all over it, but and another wood arrow there. So I kind of like. I love the photo, and I like the way everything kind of gathers around the photo there. Okay, this is probably one of my favorite layouts that I've ever done. Vicki Boutin Field Notes all the way. The photo is of Ava at the Botanical Gardens, which she used to call the Botanical Gardens, and it was one of her favorite places to go every summer. She used to ask if we'd take her there. And I've been trying to get her and her brothers and sisters interested in going again. So what I did here, the paper, if you've seen it before, already had the black and white florals there, and a lot of people colored those in. And I like the black and white look. In fact, I bought the stamps, and I keep wondering if I'm ever going to color in any of my stamped images. But these were either ephemera or fussy cut from papers. And I used a semi-gloss or satin medium to go over them so they would curl. And so that's what gives them dimension and that little bit of shine. And I even did that to this black and white, so it stands out from the flat black and white. I added jewels to some of the flower centers, grouped some of those. I shined up the bird as well. Didn't have to do much to really make this stand out, and I just titled it Love, because there's love in her smile there, and there's love to me in all these florals and in everything Vicki Boutin does or has ever done or will ever do. And I'm going to go to another, gosh, I've got several Ava layouts. I must have printed a slew of Ava pictures to take to a retreat and then had them left over. This one, the challenge was for there to be a backstory, for the story not to be about the person in the picture. So while that's an adorable picture of Ava, it's not about how cute she was or how well behaved she was at that restaurant. It's about the fact that the restaurant itself was an amazing restaurant in a tiny little town that had hardly any restaurants, let alone any good ones. And it was our first and only visit there. They didn't last very long because the little tiny town couldn't support the ambitious chef. So it went away, and this is kind of about the restaurant not so much Ava, the subject in the picture. So used a lot of, I think, simple stories, and this is a We Are Memory Keepers line called Chalkboard from years ago. Both the black and white and this are from that line, and it the colors kind of go with the simple stories stuff. So, and I'm not sure what kind of paper that is. This is probably from some paper pad, and I love it, and I've hoarded it, and I've now celebrating that I finally used it. One more, and then I'll shut this down. This is another Ava page. It's Ava hugging the inflatable turkey one Thanksgiving when we'd in 2013. What I did here, this was a cut file that we were given as at part of the East Coast, I call it the East Coast Retreat, the Collective Creativity Retreat in Charlotte by Heather, little of Heather's Crafty Life. And I used some ephemera, I think, from, this is not Cheeky Studios, this is, I believe, Simple Stories. And I did strips of paper behind. I can't really show you because I backed it with a sheet of thin white paper. But I was not about to go try to back each little line. Again, I'm not that patient or that good. So I used the black down each side, and that was fairly simple to cut. I really just had to make a kind of a triangle cut there and use this and this. And all of these were from the same paper pad. And they had nothing to do with this ephemera or this little striped journaling card, but I thought it kind of all the colors kind of were in the picture. Of course, there's not a color that isn't in that picture. And so it gave me a good excuse to use them all. I love this layout. I love backed cut files, and I'm not very good at doing them, and it takes too long, and it frustrates me a lot, but I love how they come out. So that's going to end it for now. We're at 37 minutes. I will, I'll shut things down, and I think I can get the rest of the stack done. Here's the rest of that stack. I can get the rest of that done in the next video. So thank you for watching. Enjoy, and let me know in the comments if you enjoy these, if you'd like to see more, if you think it'd be a good regular feature, and I'll see you out there.